our leaders with this message. Earth is not weak. We never were. As news spread across the galaxy, other species watched with interest. The humans had stood up to the Confederation and won the first battle. On his private ship, Supreme Leader Drex received the reports with growing anger. How did they hide such technology? How did they prepare without us knowing? His advisor looked nervous. Sir, we're getting reports that several smaller species are now refusing to pay Confederation taxes. They say if humans can leave, so can they. Drex realized the problem was bigger than he thought. It wasn't just about humans anymore. The entire system that had given the powerful species control was at risk. Find something we can use against them, he ordered. Everyone has a weakness. But as reports continued to come in of human technological surprises and growing rebellion among smaller species, Drex began to wonder if the Confederation had made a terrible mistake. The humans hadn't just walked away from the table. They had changed the game entirely. Humans walk out of galactic negotiations, the galaxy faces the consequences. 2 weeks after the failed Confederation attack on Earth, a new kind of war began. It made no sound. It shed no blood. But across the galaxy, its effects were devastating. On the luxury planet Nexus Prime, home to many wealthy Confederation officials, the lights went out. Not just in one city, but across the entire world. Transportation systems stopped. Food production halted. Communication networks failed. "What's happening?" asked the planetary governor, his voice shaking in the darkness. "All systems are down," his assistant replied. "The backup generators aren't working either." Similar reports came from 12 major Confederation worlds. Systems that had worked perfectly for decades suddenly failed, and no one knew why. In his office on Earth, Technology Director Jin smiled as he watched the reports come in. For years, while selling basic technology to the Confederation, humans had hidden special codes in everything they built. Now those codes were activated. "How long before they can fix the problems?" asked President Min. "Months, maybe years," Director Jin replied. "They don't understand how our systems really work. They never bothered to learn because they thought we were primitive." Meanwhile, in deep space, something amazing was happening. In empty regions where the Confederation rarely traveled, massive human structures appeared. Hidden by advanced cloaking technology, these giant factories had been built in secret over the past decade. Admiral Kang watched from his command ship as the factories became visible. "Begin full production," he ordered. Inside the factories, automated systems built ships, weapons, and supplies at incredible speed. What would take the Confederation years to produce, humans could now make in weeks. On the small planet Mira, Ambassador June met with representatives from 15 different species. All were smaller members of the Confederation who had suffered under its rules. "The humans have proven the Confederation isn't as powerful as it claims," said Tiv, the Miran leader. "We want to join your alliance." "We welcome all who seek equal partnership," June replied. "The Independent Systems Alliance is open to any species that respects others." As word spread about this new alliance, more species began to question the Confederation's authority. On the Confederation capital, Supreme Leader Drex faced angry questions from other powerful species. "How did you let this happen?" demanded the Zoth representative. "First humans leave, then our technology fails, and now smaller species are rebelling." "The situation is under control," Drex insisted, though he knew it wasn't true. That night, as Drex returned to his home, his personal communication device activated unexpectedly. A human face appeared on the screen. "President Mindarau's Supreme Leader," Min said calmly. "I thought it was time we talked directly." "How did you access my private channel?" Drex demanded. "This is impossible." Min smiled. "Many things you thought impossible are now reality. I'm contacting you to offer a chance to end this conflict before it gets worse." "You want to surrender?" Drex asked hopefully. "No. We want the Confederation to recognize Earth and all Independent Systems Alliance members as free and equal. We want fair trade agreements. We want respect." Drex laughed bitterly. And if we refuse? Then the silent war continues, Min replied. Today it was power and communication systems. Tomorrow it might be life support systems in your space stations, or navigation controls in your ships. You never know what we built into the technology you've been using for decades. After the call ended, Drex sat in darkness thinking. For the first time he felt afraid, not just for his position but for the entire system he had helped build. Across the galaxy, Confederation citizens were asking questions. Why had they been told humans were primitive? Why were simple things no longer working? Why were food and goods becoming scarce? And in human space, ships from the newly formed Independent Systems Alliance gathered, not to attack, but to show their strength, to demonstrate that a new power had emerged in the galaxy. The silent war had no explosions, no dramatic battles, but it was changing everything. Humans walk out of galactic negotiations, the galaxy faces the consequences. 1 month after the silent war began, the power shift in the galaxy became impossible to ignore. On Confederation worlds, citizens were angry. Food was scarce. Medical systems weren't working, and the leaders had no answers. Supreme Leader Drex faced his most difficult meeting yet. Representatives from the 5 most powerful species in the Chew. Confederation sat around the table, their faces showing anger and worry. The humans have revealed a new transportation system, said General Kor of the Zoth military. Their ships no longer use our jump gates. They can travel between stars without them. This was shocking news. For centuries, the Confederation had controlled all faster-than-light travel through their network of jump gates. It was their greatest power over other species. Impossible, Drex said, but his voice lacked confidence. We have proof, General Kor replied. Our sensors detected human ships appearing in systems with no jump gates. They have broken our monopoly on space travel. On Earth, Chief Scientist Moon was briefing President Min on this very technology. The independent drive is working perfectly, she explained. Our ships can now reach any system in the galaxy without using Confederation jump gates. President? Min nodded. And the other species in our alliance? We're sharing the technology with them now, Moon replied. Within 6 months, all Independent Systems Alliance members will have ships free from Confederation control. This was the biggest change yet. For smaller species who had joined the Human Alliance, it meant true freedom for the first time. On the small planet Krill, citizens celebrated as the first ships equipped with independent drives arrived. No longer would they have to pay heavy taxes to use Confederation jump gates. No longer would they be trapped if the Confederation decided to close the gates. The humans have given us real freedom, said Leader Jun of the Krill. Not just words, but the means to determine our own future. Meanwhile, on major Confederation worlds, protests began. Citizens who had always been told they lived in a fair and just system were learning the truth. Many species had been kept weak and dependent. Human technology had been hidden from them, and now they were suffering because of their leaders' choices. On Nexus Prime, crowds surrounded the government buildings. We want food. We want power. We want new leadership, they chanted. Security forces tried to control the crowds, but there were too many people, and many security officers secretly agreed with the protesters. Sensing weakness, 3 large Confederation worlds announced they were leaving to join the Independent Systems Alliance. These weren't small, powerless planets. These were important worlds with strong economies and military forces. In an emergency meeting, Supreme Leader Drex faced the truth. The Confederation was falling apart. We must negotiate with the humans, said his chief advisor. Before we lose everything. Never, Drex shouted. We will use force, prepare our largest fleet. But when commanders tried to gather the fleet, they discovered a new problem. Many ships wouldn't start. Others had navigation systems that refused to set course for human space. And some captains simply refused orders. Captain Yule of the battleship Dominance was the first to openly rebel. I will not lead my crew into a losing battle, he announced. The humans have shown they can disable our ships without firing a shot. This war is already lost. As news of Captain Yule's refusal spread, other captains followed. Soon, half the Confederation fleet was effectively on strike. Sensing his power slipping away, Drex made a desperate move. He ordered his personal guard to arrest key opponents. But when they reached the homes of these officials, the guards found them gone, transported away by mysterious means. That night, as Drek sat alone in his office, the lights went out again. But this time, when emergency power came on, he wasn't alone. Standing before him was Ambassador June. "How did you get in here?" he demanded. "The same way we've been doing everything you thought impossible," she replied calmly. "Your time is ending, Supreme Leader. The question is whether you end it with dignity or with more suffering for your people." Humans walk out of Galactic. Negotiations. The galaxy faces the consequences. 2 months after Ambassador June's secret meeting with Supreme Leader Drex, the day of change arrived. In the Great Hall on the neutral planet Harmony, representatives from hundreds of worlds gathered. The room was divided, Confederation species on one side, Independent Systems Alliance on the other. President Min led the human delegation. Next, to her stood leaders from the Mirans, the Krill, the Volts, and 20 other formerly small powers. Their confidence showed in how they walked and talked. These were no longer weak species begging for scraps. On the Confederation side, a notable absence caused whispers. Supreme Leader Drex was not there. In his place sat Council Member Gil, looking nervous. "We are here to establish a new relationship between our peoples," President Min announced as the meeting began. "The old Confederation system has failed. It benefited few at the expense of many. Today, we create something better." Council Member Gil stood. "The Confederation acknowledges mistakes were made. We are prepared to offer concessions to human worlds and increased benefits to smaller species." A murmur ran through the crowd. Just 2 months ago, such words would have been unthinkable. "Concessions are not enough," President Min replied firmly. "We propose a new system entirely, the Galactic Union. All member worlds have equal voting rights. All technology is shared. No species controls another's movement through space." "Impossible," shouted a representative from a powerful Confederation world. "Some species are naturally superior. Some planets have more resources, more people, more importance." Scientist Moon stepped forward. "Let me address that." She activated a display, showing a star map. "For centuries, you've believed your species were superior because you controlled jump gate technology. But the truth is, many species have unique talents. Humans are good at innovation. Mirans excel at biology. The Krill understand mathematics better than anyone." The room grew quiet as her words sank in. "In the Galactic Union," continued President Min, "we all contribute our strengths. No more hiding advances, no more artificial superiority." For 6 hours they debated details. The Confederation representatives fought to maintain some of their advantages. The Alliance members pushed for complete equality. Finally, they reached agreement. "The Galactic Confederation is dissolved," announced Council Member Gil, his voice shaking slightly. "The Galactic Union is established in its place." As the agreement was signed, changes were already happening across the galaxy. Human ships were delivering new drive systems to former Confederation worlds. Miran doctors were sharing medical advances previously kept from them. Krill mathematicians were upgrading navigation systems. 3 days later, in a small garden on Earth, Ambassador June sat across from former Supreme Leader Drex. After being removed from power, he had requested asylum on Earth, the last place anyone would look for him. "I still don't understand," Drex said, looking out at the flowers. "How did you beat us? You were just one species against hundreds." "We never wanted to beat anyone," June replied. "We just refused to be beaten. There's a difference." "But your technology, your preparations, how did we not see it?" June smiled. "Because you chose not to. You saw what you expected to see, a simple young species without much to offer. You never looked deeper because your system didn't value looking deeper." In the sky above them, ships from dozens of worlds moved in and out of Earth's atmosphere. Scientists and leaders from across the galaxy were coming to share knowledge, to learn, to build something new. "Will it last?" Drex asked, gesturing at the ships. "This union of yours?" "It will struggle. It will face problems. All new things do. June admitted. But it's built on a better foundation, respect rather than control. That makes all the difference. As the sun set over the garden, Drex realized something he had never understood before. True power wasn't about forcing others to do what you wanted. It was about being strong enough to walk away from a bad deal and wise enough to create a better one.